Here, we'll cover why we believe a better life is available to those who are strong negotiators. When I was putting this program together, I spoke with many women from a variety of backgrounds and levels of education. Medical doctors, waitresses, lawyers, school teachers, stay-at-home moms, MBAs. And it was eye-opening to really learn the degree of difficulty most of these women have with negotiating. I also learned from them what they think and how they think about negotiating and the negotiation process. I'm McCall Jones, and I'm the founder of the Institute for Adult Communication. We specialize in helping people gain personal power through accessing more powerful speaking. And we believe anyone can do it, and after a little practice, it can even be a lot of fun. Whenever we talk about improving communication or more powerful speaking, people perk up and say what great communicators they are. And then we ask a few questions. How's your communication at work or at home? Or how is your connection with your kids? Or even, how often do you ask for what you need? And it pretty quickly becomes a completely different story. Many people, most of us in fact, have breakdowns in some or even many of these areas throughout our lives. And for the most part, we accept these breakdowns as normal conditions of life. And some of us look for a solution, or maybe we don't. One thing for sure is, we don't look at how much of this trouble we face every day is coming from inside our communication, most specifically our speaking. Most often we look to the circumstance or to our feelings as a guide to what's going on. While our circumstance and our feelings do play a role, when we look more closely though, we can begin to see that what we tell ourselves, our self-talk, our inner dialogue, and what we say to others has a bigger impact than the circumstance or our feelings about it. Let's look at it this way. We observe that what we say actually creates the circumstance, and what follows are our feelings about it. Think about it. What's the difference between saying, "I love you," and, "you're okay"? Emotionally, the difference is huge, certainly. And most certainly, two very different relationships will be created by this. But both are expressed in our speaking, and it's in our speaking where things are built or destroyed.
When I end those discussions and I haven't stuck to what my goals were, I end up feeling really frustrated with myself, very sad, and at a loss for what I could have done better, or trying to rehash the conversation a whole lot.
We work with individuals, groups, businesses, and other types of organizations that want to develop their skills and speaking ability to have different outcomes. More satisfying outcomes, happier faces, smoother running places. In our coaching with hundreds of clients, individuals and groups, we began to notice that some people were having trouble in the area of negotiating. We looked into it, and what we found was that while most people can stand to improve their negotiating skills, that it was women in particular who were having the toughest time. So we investigated what was behind that. And here's what many ladies told us.
I would say I hate negotiating.
I don't really like negotiating.
I am afraid of negotiating.
I don't really like negotiating.
I hate negotiating.
I wouldn't necessarily want to offer anyone less than what they're asking for, because to me, it occurs as cheating them.
We even took a long, hard look at why sometimes women's salaries are lower than men's in the same role. We asked, we did our homework, and what we found was that many women simply do not ask for more than what they're offered.
Didn't even think about it, negotiating my last salary.
I did not negotiate the salary in terms of numbers.
Whether I had been in a negotiation about my salary, that surprises me that I have never even thought about that.
Many women tend to believe that they're offered exactly what they're worth, or said another way, they believe that they're worth exactly what they're offered. This really surprised us. As a guy, it's basically a built-in response to make a counteroffer in almost any deal we're a part of. In fact, I couldn't even find a guy who didn't make a counteroffer on a salary. But this wasn't the case with the ladies. A common rationale is that they'll need to justify why they're worth more before they'll be able to get more. And in turn, as I explained how that's not so much the case, the women we spoke with were very surprised to learn that having to justify why they're worth more wasn't even part of the process. And what I explained to them was that in the dozens of salary or fee negotiations I've been involved with over the years, I've always countered, and I've never had to justify why I'm worth more. The result was I've received anywhere from 5 to 25% higher salaries than what I was initially offered. So the bottom line, if you've made it through the interview process to the point where the company is ready to make you an offer, and you have demonstrated that your track record, your skills, and your experience are worth something to them, they're ready to hire you. And many ladies we spoke with miss this point, that by making you an offer at all, a company is communicating to you that you have something they need and that they're willing to compensate you to get it, which means your skills have value. Here's the thing. When a company looks for you, hires you, and pays you, they could care less about you, the person. What they want are your skills and experience. When we attach what people will pay us to being about us, the person, we automatically limit how much we think we're worth. Because when we think how much am I personally worth? And guess what? There's no such number. And we didn't observe this in a few women. We observed that this is a widespread, practically universal. Almost every single woman we spoke with was clear that she had trouble negotiating. And this is not limited to non-professionals. Many high-powered women also had trouble negotiating. So if you struggle with this too, you've come to the right place. I sincerely hope that what they had to contribute will in some way reflect your own challenges about negotiating and begin to help create a way for you to build your confidence and experience. It may be weird to be coming from me, a man, but as a woman, you have many built-in advantages over men in any negotiation. For example, if you're someone who is more focused on the experience or the process of negotiation, and not so much on the outcome, you can outwit the person who only wants to focus on the outcome. You can be in your comfort zone by creating an emotional connection with the other person that will help take them out of their comfort zone and basically move them into your comfort zone. And it puts you more in the driver's seat than you would be if you were playing their game. We hear almost every day how women make 70 cents for every dollar a man makes. We hear that women are not being promoted in corporations at the same rate as compared to men. We hear that women are less happy now than they were in 1970. We agree that some of this reality is institutional and is out of your control. But we also find that women as a group are simply not asking for what they need. And we believe asking for what you need is the difference between getting what you need or not. The difference between being paid more or not. And ultimately, it's the difference between living a happier, more fulfilling life or not. In our coaching, we get men and women present to the gaps in their current communication styles. One huge gap tends to be in the area of making requests and asking for what they need, especially for women. We'll cover what we see as the unique challenges that women face a little later. What do you need in your life? What do you want in your life? Now ask yourself, how often do you actually ask for these things? For most of you, you're likely seeing that there are many things that you want or need, but either rarely ask for or you never ask for them. For those of you who have asked for what you need and still don't have it, have a look at the context in which you made those requests. In our experience, the request is made at the most inopportune time, and as a result, it's literally not heard by the person you're asking. We'll show you how to make that request and when to make those requests in ways that are powerful and effective when we cover what we call the super ask later in the series. Now, here's a little bit of homework for this chapter. Go to 2 or 3 people you trust and ask them how often they see you asking for the help and the things that you need. Ask them about the impact they see on you when you're not having your needs met. Ask for their perspective on what you might do to get the help that you need. You may very likely be surprised by their answers. If you're able to, record their answers to this question in audio or video. And later on, listen to their answers and listen carefully and listen often. You'll find this to be a valuable step toward you building a relationship between you and getting your needs met. Another exercise we recommend is that have a conversation with a friend about a topic that's important to you. Record that conversation. You can make sure that you tell them that it won't be on YouTube or end up in a podcast. And that even applies to you. But later on, when you play it back, listen to how you speak. Listen to how you ask for things. And listen to how you make commitments or how you don't make commitments. You'll be able to hear what you sound like to other people. For most people, it's an eye-opening experience to listen to themselves in a context of how they transact in general and how they negotiate in particular. And most people have a hard time listening to themselves at first. But on the path to getting related to yourself and the core of your own needs, it's a very important first step toward identifying and mastering your voice and your speaking. We have answers and we have solutions. The bottom line is, whether you know it or not, the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your requests. And I hate to tell you this, but there are very few mind readers out there in the world. So knowing that, you'll be able to see that the most powerful tool you have for both creating and managing your life is your communication. A crucial facet of that communication is how you negotiate. To learn more, register now and open up a whole new chapter in your life. A chapter where you can approach every request with confidence, poise, and with your own unique style. When you own your speaking, you own your life. Sign up now and find out how.